Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Soul Shift Messages. If you're going through a transition, awakening, or deep inner change, you're in the right place. Take a deep breath and let these messages find you where you are. Please remember to take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. Nothing good ever comes out of forcing things to fit, and you know your journey, your story best. I trust you to know where things fit, how they fit, and where they don't. Before we go ahead and get started, please know I cuss. Once I get going and the channels start flowing, I can't be 100% sure what's going to come out. So if you continue watching, you've been warned. If that does not resonate with you, that's perfectly fine. Please leave and go find another channeler who is more in alignment with you. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm not getting any channeled messages. The message I have for today is for some of you, and again, I'm gonna just reiterate, take what resonates. And this is a video that's gonna hold some of you accountable. For some of you, this is going to be an awareness message, and for some of you, this is going to be a call to action. So please know I deliver this message with love, kindness, and compassion, because I have been on the receiving end of call to action messages myself, and I know how that feels. So please know that it really is delivered with love, even if you do feel a little called out. Before I go ahead and start talking about the title and who this is for, if you feel called, you can pause the video now and read the description of the video in the box below, because I do outline the talking points that I have. So that way you can be a little bit more prepared for what's coming. And if I'm being really honest, and I'm really about that to the extent I'm guided to share. I had to sit with this too. I had some things that I needed to process to it and move some things in me. I had to work through that overnight, and actually into this morning too. But the good news is I did move through that energy. I did clean that energy up. So I actually feel like I'm in a really good space now to deliver this message. I was not quite so sure this morning, but energy genuinely can change just like that. For some of you, we're really at a point where you can acknowledge things, name them, allow them to pass through, and move through it quicker. So this message is called A Message for the Ones on the Edge of a Breakthrough. And this is going to be for people who feel tired, but in a specific way. You're not burnt out because you didn't try. You feel that way. You're exhausted because you did try. All right, I'll say that one more time. You're not burnt out because you didn't try, but you're exhausted because you did. It was not for lack of effort. And the message that's really coming through is you've already done the hardest part. And I've said this before, but they want me to reiterate it again. What you're feeling right now isn't failure. This is not failure. This is the pressure that builds before a structural shift. And that can be very uncomfortable. All right, I have been crying off and on since about yesterday afternoon up until probably a couple of hours ago. So, again, if you feel that pressure and you feel that release needs to happen, let it go. Just let it go. Because, sometimes when we're getting ready to do a structural shift, things just have to be purged. They just can't come with you. And you have to allow that. And the discomfort is real. I had a nice night planned. I was going to drink some mulled wine that I had made. I was going to get all cozy because it was snowing here and stuff. And instead, I had to cry. I had to cry. I skipped the mulled wine. I was drinking grounding teas. I had to, eat a snack and stuff and genuinely sit in discomfort and do it again this morning. So just know if it's coming up, it is coming up for a reason. This is not the time to be stuffing things down and ignoring what you're feeling. So back to the message. Some of you are really standing quietly at the edge, but you're recalibrating from the inside. And so, for some of you that may be uncomfortable. That may be uncomfortable because you're not seeing things shift externally yet. And so they just really want that validated. You are recalibrating from the inside, and then the outside will shift. Others of you are still feeling friction. This can be with people, this can be with systems, and this is where I'm lovingly going to call some of you out. Some of you have decisions you've been postponing, decisions you know you need to make, and you're just not doing them right now. For some of you, that is where your friction is coming from. So both are valid places to be at this time, and there is no shame if you are feeling friction. We have all been there. We have all had to make decisions we did not want to actually make. So there is no shame. All right. This is really about recognizing, being honest about where you actually are, and frankly, taking action on the right next steps for you. Because again, if you are standing quietly and recalibrating from the inside, you have one set of next steps. If you are feeling that friction in any aspect of your life, you have different next steps. And I will get into both of those. So if you've been with me for a little while, and I know that's kind of funny because right now my channel is only about like a month old, but this next section, if you've been listening to more than one of my videos, might seem a little redundant, but can't assume that everyone who's watching this video has seen the previous one. So as a recap, for some of you, you didn't fail. You just outgrew the old way. All right. So there's big emphasis on some of you really feel like you're failing at certain aspects of your life. Some of you are just feeling like you're failing in general. And that's not the case. We're learning, we're growing. And on this journey, you do just at some point outgrow certain things. All right. So for some of you, something recently may have stalled, dissolved, or just stopped making sense. And you don't know why. And again, it's just you outgrew it. But some of you are replaying it, revisiting it, and really just wondering, like, what did you miss? What could you have done differently? And the truth is, it didn't fall apart because you weren't competent. It has nothing to do with competence. It really happened because it just couldn't hold what you're becoming. When we outgrow things, we just have to shed them and let them go because it just physically, energetically, can't contain you. And so, again, I've said it before and I'll say it again, confusion at this stage, it's not a lack of clarity. It is the transition between these identities, who you were and who you are becoming. And there is this liminal space in between where a lot of us, and myself included, find themselves. And I gotta be honest, sometimes I am uncomfortable as fuck in this space. So if you're like, this is really uncomfortable, I don't like it, listen, grab a number and get in line with me, because yeah, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm here and keep your eye on the prize. Keep your eye on the prize. So this is really, it's not the space to really, romanticize what you're feeling. Again, this is kind of that pause before the new settles in. So even I'm hearing, even when you feel like shit, I don't know who that's for, but even if you feel like shit, keep your eye on the prize. Remind yourself what you're working toward, what you're moving toward, and who you want to become. Um, and again, I really just talked about that. Old framework is gone. For a lot of us, we know we can't go back to the old framework. It just does not work. And the new one's just not in place yet. And that, again, that in between space can just really be disorienting. And, especially if you're like me and you were used to certainty and kind of controlling things and kind of seeing the potential outcomes of a situation and kind of monitoring them like that. I'm very sorry to be the one to break it to you if you haven't found that out yet. That does not work here. It does not. And so this is really where the old crumbles and turns into compost to feed the new and allow the new to flourish and bloom. And it's a very humbling space to be in, at least it has been for me. So if you're feeling really humbled right now, that's okay too. So, all right, the next point. So not everyone here needs the same next move. So this is where that accountability comes in. And I trust you to hold yourselves accountable appropriately based on where you're at right now. So some of you don't actually need to do anything dramatic for this breakthrough to come through. Your breakthrough really comes through integration, subtle repositioning, internal alignment, and really just letting things settle, right? You're letting the old crumble. You're letting the reorganization take place so that the new can come in. And for some of you that may be challenging too, because again, some of us really like certainty, and there, it's just really hard to put a timeline on this space. So some of you, again, just need to let the process keep moving and moving at the pace that is right for you, because trying to speed this up makes no sense. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. Not all movement, when you are in this liminal space, actually moves you forward. All right? This is really the time where we really take a step back and take a look at what is actually in alignment with us, what is not, and making informed decisions on what actually goes forward with us. Others of you, and again, I say this with love, you are delaying momentum. You are, to a certain extent, you are in your own way right now. So be honest with yourself and be kind to yourself if this identifies with you, or you feel this in your gut. You'll feel this in your body. I'm hearing you can try to lie to yourself, but your body is not going to lie to you. That's for someone. Others of you are delaying momentum by avoiding one final clean decision. This could be a conversation, a boundary. This could also be Again, this could also be an ending you already know is necessary. Some of you just don't want to be the bad guy, but you're not really seeing another option than to be the bad guy. And if you feel called to it, I did post a link to a short video by the Goddess Keys talking about the villain code. And that really talks about balancing the polarities between, a hero's journey, a hero's archetype, and balancing that with being the villain. Sometimes we have to bounce back and forth between those two things. So if you feel called to that, some of you may need to watch that. I'm hearing some of you maybe avoiding that. Okay. Listen, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. You'll know when you're ready to receive certain information. But yeah, again, if things are really feeling tense, then, instead of quiet, that can be your cue. I'm hearing for some of you, though, the quietness is actually, I'm hearing making you jittery, is actually contributing to the confusion. I did record a video called Why Quietness Can Feel Unsettling During Transition. Some of you have not felt ready to watch that. But I'm hearing some of you will benefit from listening to that video. Okay. They want me to discuss. I did not know when I was recording that video. That I basically in that video I basically speak to your nervous system. And I know that sounds a little out there, a little woo-woo, but I wasn't going to share that, and they told me to tell you. So for some of you need to watch that message, because that message is actually not for your conscious mind. That message, you need to listen to it for your nervous system. Your nervous system will know what to do with that information. And for some of you, that will help you calm down a little more. It will help you feel less unsettled. That will bring you clarity. Because some of you feel tense right now, and that's actually due to the confusion and the disorientation of being in this space. Others of you actually know you are not addressing something that needs to actually be addressed. Again, I usually don't plug my own content, so take that if it resonates and leave it if it doesn't. I'm not gonna take that video down, so that'll be there for whenever you're ready for it. The last point they really want me to bring up with that is avoidance here doesn't protect your peace. It actually just prolongs the friction. And I'm hearing, how bad do you want it? Some of you really want the new. And if you know you are avoiding certain things that need to be addressed, that's your question. How bad do you want the new? How bad do you want it? Are you willing to take the short-term discomfort for the long-term gain. Because a lot of what we're being called to let go of is not actually in alignment with where we are right now. And so some of you do genuinely need to make room for what is trying to come in avoidance. You can say all you want, you can manifest all you want that you want the new, but some of you absolutely do need to take action to make the space to actually bring that in here. Again, this is not the time to be circumventing things. This is the time to really have those honest conversations with yourself. All right. So next is your breakthrough isn't about pushing harder. We're not pushing through harder. That's not going to work moving forward. It's actually about directing your energy smarter. So in short, your breakthrough isn't working harder. It's working smarter. So, for a lot of us, and I ain't gonna lie, this absolutely called my ass out. And I've talked about this in previous videos, but this is me showing where I'm being honest and I'm holding myself accountable. So, for some of us, we've been really trying to use the old tactics to move into the new. So for some of us, you've really been trying to muscle your way forward. You've been proving, you've been over functioning, really just trying to force things into place, trying to make the right outcome happen through effort alone. And this next phase just does not respond to any of that. And I can tell you from personal experience on my end, this don't move shit. And not a damn thing moves. So you can push and push and push and push, and at some point you're just gonna realize, bitch, I'm trying to push a brick wall. The fuck? Don't. Just don't. Whew. Had to take that moment for me because this phase really responds to precision, to self-trust, and really choosing instead of reacting. And for some of us, that's a really big shift. For some of us, life taught us at a very young age that, you got to grab the bull by the horns and wrangle it into what you want or what you need it. And yeah, we're just not meant to overpower what comes next. It actually pushes it away from us if we try to do that. You're really meant to guide it in. And how will you know if you are forcing it versus guiding it? You will. I got a bunch of examples, so I'm just gonna straight read this because I usually don't get this many examples, but there's a reason that these are in here. So forcing feels like tension in the body, mental agitation, a lot of rumination, a lot of replaying, and all that kind of stuff. Again, looking at all the different possible outcomes and trying to weigh out which ones are likely. How would you respond in that situation? No. That's mental agitation. Anything that kind of fits like that. Feeling like you're holding all the work with minimal results. Emotional frustration, anxiety, irritation, a sense that the system is in some way resisting you, right? I'm putting in all this effort, all this work, and I ain't getting shit back. That's your cue. Why? Because forcing comes from impatience, comes from fear. For some of us, it's a sense of lack. For some of us, it's specifically a fear of failure. or really a need to control outcomes. And again, it is okay if you are finding yourself in this position. If you're listening to this and you're like, oh shit, this fits, it's okay to be there. A lot of this stuff is being able to identify and name what it is, because that can actually help you move through it. Now, do I do this the way I used to? No, not even close. Thank goodness, because who got time for that shit? Not me. Um, but like I still have moments where I fall into it, and a lot of it is just recognizing, like, hey, I've fallen into this, and just kind of, you know, doing something to pull myself out of that, and really redirecting, like, why am I doing that? What is actually what makes more sense for me to do instead. So let me jump into the guiding, because again, we're moving from forcing to guiding. So let me jump into that. Guiding, as a general rule of thumb, is going to feel lighter and more attuned. You'll feel like you have clarity on the next step without needing to know all of the next steps. Even if you do know all of the next steps, you can still take the next logical step. You don't feel the need to tackle everything at once. There is logic to it, there is a process, and you are going to work the process step by step. And then, you'll feel in rhythm with your actions. You'll just feel called to do the next thing when the time is right. There is a calm observation of results. All right, you'll see that energy flows with momentum rather against resistance. Some of you may notice you have increased creativity. Problems solve easier as the system responds. Really, instead of overexerting ourselves, we're going to really focus on guiding and aligning, because the things that are actually in alignment with us are just going to naturally respond to the energy that we're putting out there. And if you feel like you are just constantly putting in effort and you're getting nothing back, that is information. Take a look at it. It's not an automatic no, but start being honest with that situation. So guiding is really about observing, adjusting, and leveraging rather than overexerting. Once you guide instead of overpower, movement becomes easier and it becomes quieter. And yet at the same time, drop my pen, it becomes more effective. Again, you will see the system responding to your effort. You will not have to force things through to get movement. They're showing me the boulder being pushed up the hill, right? We all know the story. Like at some point it gets too heavy and that boulder absolutely runs your ass over as it falls back down the hill. We're not doing that anymore. Reciprocity, more equal give and take is the goal of what we're moving into. So if you're not seeing reciprocity and you feel like there is a lot of resistance, maybe hold up with that. All right? Trust that you know how to handle things best. So the next one is really stop waiting for permission. And I've been here too. Many of you are subconsciously waiting for confirmation, some sort of sign, an invitation, some external validation before you move, before you act, before you do something. And again, for a lot of you, these are things that you already know you're meant to do. And the message with that is the initiation already happened. Like what you're waiting for, it's already here. It's already been given to you. Like, I'm hearing, what are you waiting for? For a lot of us, it happened when you survived something that really should have broken us, and I know how that resonates for me, but for a lot of us, we have been through experiences that some people just would have never made it through, you know. And I joke, even on my worst days, I'm like, hey, still standing, like bruised, little beat to shit, but still putting one foot in front of the other, like, and it really happened when you just picked yourself up and you just kept going, you know. I always joke about Aries that we're stubborn. I am a stubborn bitch. I am. Knock me down, I get back up. Shit, I'll take all the beatings if I have to, but I just get back up. What do you want? You can't give me this like warrior type archetype and expect me to just lay down. Like, no. So, and a lot of us, we just kept going with, no recognition from others. There was no applause. No one gave us an award for getting through what we got through. It's not a thing, A lot of us do this journey and don't get our flowers. Like, but you know what you did, and you know what you're doing, and you know why you're doing it. So again, I'm hearing, what are you waiting for? Some of you may want to listen to that Gwen Stefani song. What are you waiting for? I don't know. Little random, but that might be meaningful to someone. But yeah, this is the phase where we authorize ourselves. That's really what it is. You already have it. You need to give yourself permission to have it too. And why are we authorizing ourselves? Because breakthrough energy cannot wait on outside validation. It cannot. Breakthrough energy cannot wait on outside validation. It does not work like that. The system is already shifting and it's ready for activation. Everything is primed for you. The momentum is most potent when it's initiated by your agency, not coaxed or approved externally. It's already within you. Waiting slows the natural flow of change and integration. Some of you are standing in your way, and I have been there too. I was told by my good sis, I'll plug her. I love her. That is my soul sister. Mocha Love Tarot. She really is my soul sister. We family. But she told me, I think in like June of last year, that I would be starting this channel and that one day it would help a lot of people. And that I would need to start it even when I didn't feel ready for it. And yeah, in mid-December, I started this channel. And I'm not gonna lie, I felt very unprepared and pretty raw actually at the time. I was going through a lot in December, but it's really, you're not being asked to do things perfectly. I'm hearing the perfect time to do this is when you decide to do it. And some of us just need to get comfortable with the fact that things may be a slow start. And that doesn't mean that it's wrong. Again, some of you have things you know that you need to do. And you just need to give yourself permission to do it, you know? And again, you just have to, there is a certain level of really trust the process, right? Even a small step counts. Action validates readiness. Even if you start something and you take something in one direction and it doesn't feel right, or things just really stall and things of that sort, you have every right to change your mind and go in a different direction, right? You know yourself best, you know? Like I'll be honest, I still have no idea where this channel is gonna go. I just, at this point, I get the messages, I deliver them. If anything else comes through, I deliver that too. Sometimes I get messages, little downloads in between these that make absolutely no sense to me, and I say them anyway. Why? Because it came through, and it came through for a reason. It's for someone. So you really have to claim your action. Like, you have to claim your position from action that is in alignment. All right? You can't claim your position. A lot of us just need, like, a lot of us have to, we're being, ooh, give me 1 second. Damn, I just lit up. A lot of us already have our authority. We are being called to stand in it. You're already in alignment with it. You have to claim it through action tied to alignment. You cannot do that if you are in hesitation. This is the time to get constructively delusional. All right? I stand in my authority. What I say goes. All that kind of stuff. I know who I am. I know what I'm here to do, and I am going to do it. All right? Make the universe aware of what you're going to do so they can start aligning the things you need. Take even the smallest action to get started. I started this channel with an About Me section and one video. That was it. Couldn't even make a post when I first started the channel because I had no subscribers. Start somewhere. Even if it doesn't end up being the right thing, just start. Take a step. I'm hearing even if it's taking a step back from somebody, that's still action. That still counts. You're not being asked to boil the ocean, but stop waiting for permission because it's not coming. You already have it. Stand in your authority and do the next logical step. I feel like I really came at someone's ass with that one. All right. This is, for some of you, this is another call to action. So if you need to, take a break here. But I'm going to keep going. So this next section is about reassessing loyalty. Not everyone comes with you. Some of you are carrying people, roles, obligations, things you have kept in place out of loyalty, not alignment, loyalty. I'm hearing you've always done this. You've always been this way. You always help me. That type of stuff. But that loyalty has expired quietly for a lot of you. The only thing keeping it in place is you still upholding it and feeding into someone's expectation that you're going to continue to do that. This doesn't mean bitterness. This really is discernment. And your breakthrough will not fully land if you are carrying these things with you and trying to go into this next chapter with it all. I'm hearing Erica Badu, bag lady. You gotta pack light. Some of you are trying to quantum leap and you are just weighed down with all this heavy, dead shit. And it just doesn't work like that. You gotta pack light. You know, not everyone and everything gets to go where you're going. You know, access has to narrow here. It has to. It's not to punish you. It's really to protect what's forming. Some people cannot sit at your table in this next chapter. Some people cannot eat the feast you are about to bring in. Some of you really need to get your Tupac Shakur on. I don't know if he's the one who originally said it, but I've seen that interview where he talks about how, you know, he doesn't want, it's not that I don't want to see you eat. You just can't eat at my table. That's the kind of mindset some of you need to have. Not everyone gets to come. And again, it's not that we judge these people, we condemn these people, none of that, right? Even people I don't talk to anymore. It's like I don't have any bitterness, and I absolutely want to see them eat. But you just can't be at my table, But I want you to find your table, and I want you to eat there, So again, some of you may just need to get comfortable with the fact that you're just not going to make everybody happy. And they're saying you were never put here to make everyone happy. How can you make everyone happy and find fulfillment in your own life? No one can please the world. I'm hearing stop trying. No one asked you to carry that. Put it down. They also want me to say, this doesn't necessarily mean all relationships drop. Some absolutely will, and they're meant to. They're very draining. But some of them will need to adjust. And if they're meant to stay and go with you into the next chapter, they will successfully adjust. The ones that are not, they will fall off. Or you will, if you take no action, you will just keep yourself in this liminal space. You'll make some progress, but again, your breakthrough will not fully land if you're carrying all that stuff with you. There's no room for it. There's not going to be enough room. You'll get bits and pieces. And they're saying you will feel the difference if you're only getting pieces versus if you actually take the action and allow the breakthrough to fully land. This journey is about growth, and growth is not always comfortable. Some of you may go through experiences that are tough to make you put those boundaries in place, to actually make you take that action. Some of you may find you don't actually have a choice. If you keep putting it off, and I don't wish this upon anybody. I don't. I truly don't. I'm just the messenger, but some of you may go through experiences that force you to act. I'm here and I can't unsee what I've seen. Okay. It's really interesting. This next section is very interesting to me. For a lot of people, they'll tell you that they view softness as weakness. And the message is your softness is not weakness. It's an access point. So many of you learned to harden because it was just necessary. You had to stay alert. You had to stay in control. It's almost like life didn't offer you the opportunity to soften. And even if you did, you only got it in pockets, and then something came up that forced you out of it again. They're being very clear. Armor is not what opens this next door. That is not it. This door really opens through emotional intelligence, alignment, receptivity, being able to regulate your strength. You don't need to shut down to be safe anymore. Strength now is going to look like calm, groundedness. Really, again, tied down to discernment, choosing versus reacting. It really is that like quiet confidence, and for a lot of us, we were surviving. We were doing what we needed to do to get through. And so we numbed, we kind of pushed things down, we ignored things. We had the armor on and we were ready to do whatever it takes to get through what we were going through. And those are the skills that just need to be laid down in this liminal space Now, I'm not saying don't protect yourself at all, because that's not how I roll, right? Do your cleanses, do your wards, do your statements, whatever you do to protect your energy, all that kind of stuff. But again, we need to lay down the things that are heavy. And armor is heavy. And so they're bringing me back to the time where I got this message. And I actually got this message from Gaia. Gaia is Earth's consciousness. And some of us absolutely can channel her. And I remember being how scared I was when she told me to put the armor down, that I didn't need to do it anymore. And so I bring that up to let you know that you're not expected to put that down in one go. I definitely did not. It definitely took me some convincing, because I had some shit going on at that time. I was like, you want me to put the armor down now? Like, you got to be shitting me. But they trust your process, trust what you're called to do and when you're called to do it. Your softness is not a weakness, it's the access point. And you will need to really unharden yourself. You can't go into this next space, this next phase with a closed heart. You just can't. Because how are the people who are aligned with you going to find you with a closed heart? And I gotta be honest, that is one of the hardest parts of this journey for me, was actually thawing out my heart and letting those emotions go. Just like, so if you're actually crying a lot, that could be a sign that you're actually thawing out your heart. You can't open your heart and not feel your feelings. And a lot of that heartache, a lot of that betrayal, that type of stuff, it gets stored in multiple places in the body, but particularly your heart. And so, oh, that's funny. Not if you're going through this experience, but they're showing me Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, where his heart grows 3 sizes at the end of the video. And he says something to the extent of like, I'm feeling things. And then he just goes, what's the deal? That is kind of how unthawing your heart can really feel. You can feel a lot, but it's again just to release those and open your heart back up and purge that out of your system. So if you're really going through that, no pun intended, but my heart does go out to you, because woof. But yeah, again, it's not about going into this next phase with yourself all armored up. It is about making sure you have the protection in place, but being brave enough to be open. You have to be open to be receptive to what is coming your way. And armor does not allow you to be open. All right, so this next section, this is not going to apply to everybody, but it will apply to some, so I'm going to put it out there. You'll know it's for you when it happens. So for some of you, a temptation may appear, and your guidance is to pause before you essentially say yes or really do anything. So for some of you, this is an opportunity that's gonna approach you. It may feel flattering, it may feel validating. You may feel like, oh, this is a sign that things are actually moving again for me. Pause. Just pause it. For a lot of us, I'm hearing there is power in the pause. Even if this feels really good to you, your guidance still is to pause. I'm hearing see how the other person reacts, right? Because remember, in this next phase, people who are in alignment with you will respect your boundaries. So if you say, okay, however you want to handle it, but something to the extent of, you know what, let me think about that. Let me get back to you about that, all that kind of stuff. That pause should be able to take place without issue. People who are pushing you, rushing you, while you make a decision now, even if it doesn't, especially if it doesn't actually require a decision now. Like for some of you, this may be shit that's like months away and someone wants an answer now, like right now. Like, why? Rushing for what? But they really want you to pause so you can really think about it. Does it make you shrink? Will you need to overcompensate in some way for that? Will you need to explain yourself? Will you have to re-enter old dynamics that you're actually trying to get out of and retire? Let those things go. I'm hearing, how does it make your body feel? If it's given any of that, that's not alignment. It's not. It's comfort disguised as progress. And some of us are going to have to move in ways that are new. They may not be comfortable, but they may just be in alignment. So the right path is not going to drain you. It's not going to over demand of you. Again, we're trying to move into things that are reciprocal, equal give and take. I'm hearing just plain fair. A lot of us have been in unfair dynamics, unfair situations, So again, if something comes through, take that pause. Take a good look at it. Trust yourself. And then make your decision. So what is actually happening right now? Your energy, money, and self-worth are rebalancing. And that takes time. So there's really a quiet correction that is taking place about how you see yourself, what you invest in, what you tolerate, how much you give. They're showing me scales. Libra energy. They're trying to rebalance things out. A lot of us have been overgiving in multiple ways, whether that was emotionally, financially, energetically. Like that is, and a lot of us did that out of habit. Some of us did it out of fear. Some of us just, that's what you've always done, and that is what is trying to be corrected. All right? That era is ending. That is part of what is dying, what is being released. So that is another reason why they want you to pause when new things come through. Does it feed the old that is trying to die, that is trying to let go, that is trying to be released? Or does that align with the new energy that you are trying to bring in? So your breakthrough really includes learning how to receive without guilt and how to say no without explanation. No is a full sentence. Some of you are getting really good and really comfortable with saying no, and some of you are going to get more opportunities to practice. Pause when new things come in. What are you feeding? The old or the new? Discernment. What do you want to feed? Do your actions align to it? Not everything that's going to be made available to you is for you. And it's not to say if you make a wrong, quote unquote, wrong decision that you can't undo it. For some of you, you can. For others of you, you may have to go through the experience, learn it, and choose differently the next time. But that's just the thing to be mindful of. Not everything that is coming in it is going to be for you and for your greatest and highest good. Please use your discernment. Take that pause. So even if it feels silent, you are being seen. For some of you, if things, feel quiet right now, they just want to reiterate again, that doesn't mean nothing is happening. A lot of these shifts are happening internally, and then things will shift externally. And again, that lack of feedback, that lack of a mirror in your external environment can be, can really feel destabilizing at times or, unsettling. But really, what's forming behind the scenes is meant to last. These are not breakthroughs tied to ego. Things tied to the ego can easily can come in just as fast and leave just as fast. That's not the case with these. These are meant to last, not necessarily meant to impress. So they're saying this is consolidation, not stagnation. Recognition will come, but it will meet you where you are, and it will find you when you are stable enough to receive it without losing yourself, without collapsing. I'm going to say that again. Recognition will come, but it will meet you where you are once you are stable enough to hold it without losing yourself. Are you willing to take short-term discomfort for long-term comfort? Now, I'm going to be honest, I haven't loved this space, but I understand its purpose. And the lack of mirrors and the lack of an actual timeline of how long you stay here can be genuinely unsettling. Trust your process, trust your pace, and trust what you are feeling as things come in. And this is where they want me to be very clear. Expect a lag and don't misread it. There may be a pause between an internal decision and external movement. All right? That's not resistance, that is calibration. all right, is not resistance, it is calibration. These things take time. They shift when you are stable, not when you're still convincing yourself. Constructive delusion. The first sign of alignment may not be excitement. When things are in alignment, you don't usually yo-yo between extremes of emotions. All right? So like you may feel neutral about something that comes in, you know. This isn't about fireworks, If you believe in it, angels don't pop out and start singing hallelujah. No one shoots confetti when it's when it's the right things for you. It's really focusing on calm, a narrowing again of those emotional extremes, things that are really in alignment should not make you yo-yo back and forth between things. You should not feel like you're on the emotional roller coaster. A lot of us have been used to that. That's the feedback loop that we have been attuned to. And that's not what it is moving forward. All right. And here's the part that can be really challenging, can feel very challenging is this isn't emptiness. It can feel that way, but this isn't emptiness. This is really regulation. A lot of us have been so dysregulated for so long that it's easy for us to misinterpret what regulation actually looks like. And I'm not gonna lie, the first time, like I told my team, I was like, I'm so bored. I don't feel like I got no fucks to give about anything. Like, damn. And they were like, this is actually normal. Like, you should not actually be going through your day-to-day life, like feeling extreme emotions. They were like, that's actually not healthy. Being bored at this point is a sign that you have healthy regulation going on. So I'm also hearing it's a blessing to be bored. And that shit hits a lot deeper when you really think about it. All right, moving along. Actually, let me grab some water. All right. Actually, that example ties into this beautifully. The final barrier is emotional honesty. Some of you are numb, not because you didn't care, but because you've cared deeply for a long time without being met. A lot of us cared for people who just weren't capable of meeting us at that level. And it doesn't make them bad people. It doesn't make them wrong. It's just they just genuinely lacked capacity. And they don't want you to stop caring. Again, put that armor down. You are allowed to care. And again, that softness is the access point. But they're also saying you don't need to feel everything again. You just need to feel what's true. You don't owe vulnerability to everyone. And actually, one of the best pieces of advice I got from my team was make people earn their access. to you. Make them earn it. Do they deserve to know you at that level, at that depth? Are they even capable of handling that if you even opened up to them? Again, if you are over-explaining yourself to people, why do you feel you need to over-explain yourself? That can be a sign of misalignment. All right? What you do owe is honesty to yourself. All right? And for some of you, that may help you with the clean decision that you need to make. All right? So that, let me see. Wrap it up. Got it. So if you're here and you're listening to this, you're not late. You are not late. You're not behind. You're right where you're supposed to be. You're really standing at a threshold where old versions of you just cannot follow. Certain things just cannot pass this threshold. And the discomfort you feel is not a warning. It's a signal, okay? It's not a warning. Something is rearranging itself to meet you where you're going next. And that takes time. You know, and some of us really are being called to do some final cleanup in this threshold. Because again, if you're carrying those old things, you cannot walk through it at this time. I want to be clear. You cannot walk through it at this time. And a lot of you want to. I'm hearing I'm sick of the old, bring in the new. Same. I fuck with that. But you have to take the time of this pause and really go through things and clean that stuff up before you can come through that threshold. I'm hearing honor this time. This is the sacred pause. So for a lot of you, when it clicks, it won't feel like chaos. It's just going to make sense, you know? Some of you will feel relief when it does come through. Because again, the things that are in alignment with you don't require chaos. Receptivity equal give and take does not require chaos. There's no room for it. It's just the type of energy where chaotic energy just can't exist, you know? Honor this pause that just keeps coming through. Honor this time. Do what you need to do. As things come through, check for alignment before moving. I'm going to leave that there. So just know, be kind, be patient with yourself. And if you do feel like you have some additional action that needs to be taken, handle that as you see fit, okay? I always trust your judgment to know how to handle your situations. So let this process work out. Be kind to yourself as you move through it, because it can feel very challenging as someone who is still going through this. It is a lot. But if I can, work through it in my own wonky way and still make progress, I know you can too. So this is the time to really be a friend to yourself. And sometimes being a friend to yourself means you need to be honest with yourself. All right, if this resonates with you, stay tuned. I'll be posting more. And in the meantime, take care of yourselves, beautiful souls. Bye.